What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another top 10 list. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. Welcome to part 2 of a top 10 list I did last week, which was counting down my top 10 favorite movie villains of all time. And now this week I promised I'd bring you guys my top 10 favorite movie heroes of all time. I am super excited to give you guys this top 10 list because this was pretty difficult. There's a lot of movie heroes or leads, protagonists in films that I do love. As always, guys, I want you to get down below in the comment section and let me know your top 10 favorite movie heroes of all time. Because like I said with the movie villains, guys, we're going to have completely different lists. We're not going to agree on everything. Like every single ranking I do, our lists are going to be different. We're going to disagree. And that's what I want to see. Keep in mind, this is my top 10 list. This is my personal list. This is not the right list. These aren't technically the hands down the top 10 best movie heroes in film. No other choice is welcome. Like, no, this is my opinion. It's all subjective, like I say, guys. So please don't bash hate in me in the comment section. Before we get to the actual top 10 list, of course, we got the honorable mentions, and I have 10 to go through, so I'll go through them quickly. I'm just going to drop some bombs right away, some shockers, because I'm sure you're expecting this guy to be at least in the top 10 or top 5. I have Indiana Jones in the honorable mentions section. Whoa, Ryan! Why isn't Indiana Jones on the top 10 list? This is hands down a top 10 choice. What the heck? I didn't grow up with Indiana Jones. I didn't watch it a lot when I was a kid, but Indiana Jones is fantastic, guys. It's in the honorable mentions. Like, these are the best of the best for me personally. Luke Skywalker, a childhood hero of mine, played excellently by Mark Hamill. He started off as a whiny little brat in A New Hope, but him progressing his way through Empire Strikes Back, learning about Darth Vader being his father, Anakin Skywalker, and him training to become a Jedi with Obi-Wan and Yoda was so satisfying to watch. Maximus Decimus Meridius from Gladiator, played by Russell Crowe, Academy Award-winning performance. Maximus is a hero that we all root for against the ruthless villain Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix. Two of the most iconic spy heroes we have, Ethan Hunt and James Bond. Ethan Hunt, for me, is the character I resonate more with because I've seen Mission Impossible multiple times, and Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt was so great. James Bond as a character, again, isn't a character I haven't seen all of the Bond movies, so I can't resonate with the Roger Moore Bond movies or Timothy Dalton. But as for Sean Connery and Daniel Craig, they're both the best James Bond actors we've had, absolutely. But Daniel Craig, for me, is my favorite Bond as of right now. Thor, the God of Thunder. Chris Hemsworth is perfectly cast in the role. And when I first went into the first Thor movie, I didn't expect it to be as entertaining as it was. I mean, Chris Hemsworth, he's so hilarious as the role, and he's a great actor in there. Wonder Woman, definitely a very awesome female-led superhero. Gal Gadot. This was another casting that I was scared going in. This was the model from the Fast and Furious movies, and Gal Gadot is perfect as Wonder Woman. Desmond Doss, played by Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge. Out of all of the war heroes, this is one that really resonates with me. Desmond Doss is the perfect definition of a hero for this list. The man saved over 70 lives on the battlefield without even carrying a weapon. He is hugely against using a gun in battle. This is a big cheat, but the entire Fellowship, from Fellowship of the Ring, I mean, you got characters like Frodo, Samwise, Merry Pippin, Aragorn, Gimli, Boromir, rest in peace, Sean Bean. But I'm not going to say the rest. And of course, Gandalf. My last honorable mention is Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone. Just great casting, great performance he gives throughout most of the Rocky movies. I mean, just the character of Rocky Balboa in particular is so patriotic and just himself whenever he's not boxing. Those are my honorable mentions, guys. Let's get to the actual top 10 list now. At the number 10 spot is Harry Potter, a childhood nostalgic choice. Absolutely, the Harry Potter franchise. I've talked to death about it on this channel. And Harry Potter as the character, fans love from the movies as well as the books. And then they cast Daniel Radcliffe at a very young age in Sorcerer's Stone. and it's perfect casting. Daniel Radcliffe really embodies the character of Harry Potter. Harry as a character goes through so much pain, so much trauma. Just when he's starting out and with this awful aunt and uncle, living with the Dursleys, that was an awful experience for him. After the death of his parents as well, just growing up really without parent figures. And then he meets Ron and Hermione, his best friends throughout his entire life. Which makes the final fight between Harry and Voldemort a lot more satisfying because it's been building up to that moment for 10 years. And I thought they nailed it perfectly. My number 9 is going to be the T-800 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, I didn't say the first Terminator because he was a villain in that movie. You could definitely make an argument like, Ryan, many of the things the T-800 does is not heroic. But in Terminator 2, he is the one protecting John Connor. It's a great little reveal because I'm sure audiences back in the 90s were not expecting Arnold to be the hero in here. And I just love the scene where we first see Arnold as the T-800 going up to John Connor, and then we have a cop, and you have no idea who the hero or the bad guy is. And when Arnold cocks the gun and says, "Get down," I'm like, oh man, he is the hero protecting John Connor. It just makes for some great entertaining as well as some soft moments between the two, just acting like normal people. And when the T-800 sacrifices himself at the end and puts his thumbs up, tears. Just tears. 8 is another iconic action hero, but the female side. I think this is definitely the best female hero in film. That is Eleanor Ripley from the Alien franchise. Sigourney Weaver, so fantastic and badass as Eleanor Ripley right here. In the first Alien, she's not even the main star until the end of the movie. She's the final girl. Just such a great choice from Ridley Scott. The smartest scientist for sure on the Nostromo. They're getting a distress signal, they find the xenomorph aliens, and she's the only smartest one really on there. She doesn't even let people back on the ship because of quarantine rules, and that's a true hero. Of course, "Get away from her, you bitch" is a very iconic quote, and it's well earned because Ripley as a character is so well fleshed out in those first 2 Alien movies. Number 7 is a definite choice that's going to be in everyone's top 10 list. That is Spider-Man. Seeing the original Spider-Man trilogy from Sam Raimi in theaters was some of the best theater experiences in my childhood, of course. Tobey Maguire is a great Spider-Man, okay? He's really good as Spider-Man as well as Peter Parker. He does have his little issues as Spider-Man, but it's just a childhood choice. But then you go to Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, a very awful Peter Parker, I'll just say that, but a really good Spider-Man. For me, Tom Holland is my personal favorite as both Peter Parker and Spider-Man, because it's the Spider-Man I grew up loving from the comics, straight out of those comic books, and then you put him in Civil War, and he really stands his ground against the guys like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., and just him throughout the MCU. His chemistry with Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark is some of the best moments between the two. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, even though it's Miles Morales, it got me really invested with the Miles Morales character. And Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man movie, if you were to ask me. Number 6 is going to be Wolverine himself, or Logan, played by Hugh Jackman, which, by the way, this is definitely top 3 best casting choices for superheroes. I just love the progression of Wolverine's character from the very first X-Men movie, where he's cage fighting in Canada. He has this I don't give a shit attitude, he has this grisly look to him, and Hugh Jackman did not look the part at all in the very first movie. He was coming straight out of Broadway musicals, and you just realize throughout all these films, Hugh Jackman is the character. And just to look back and look at the ride that Hugh Jackman has been on from the whole 17 years he's been playing the character. Just they ended it off perfectly for him. Before we get to the top 5 list, guys, if this is your first time checking out my channel and you're enjoying hearing my top 10 favorite movie heroes, hit that like button. It helps with the algorithm. And consider clicking that subscribe button because I do tons of top 10 ranking videos like this, movie reviews, Blu-ray videos, And the best thing about this is that I do this on a weekly basis. Let's continue on with the list. Number 5 for me is going to be Han Solo himself, the badass smuggler of the Star Wars galaxy, played by Harrison Ford. The fact that Harrison Ford played both Indiana Jones and Han Solo at the same time is just baffling to me. Han Solo has one of the best hero introductions in cinema. Just him in the cantina, sitting down with Chewbacca and Obi-Wan and Luke, talking about transporting them with the Millennium Falcon. And some of the dialogue that Harrison Ford says right out of the bat, you're just thinking to yourself, oh man, I'm gonna love this character. His whole dynamic with his son, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren. What a great reveal, and what a shocking, heartbreaking death. Kylo killing his own father. Just, man, that scene still gets me. And Han Solo is just so awesome. Caesar himself from the new Planet of the Apes trilogy, played by Andy Serkis. I have gushed to death about the Planet of the Apes trilogy. You guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about these movies, but I'm still gonna keep talking about them. It's baffling to me that an ape who really doesn't say a lot of words is high up on this list, because Caesar has the best arc for a character I've seen in years. I mean, going back to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, where Caesar really didn't say anything besides, no! It's just so mind-blowing to hear that coming from Andy Serkis' voice. Just in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the leader he becomes, and just befriends the human race even more, and sees their side. But then, he has to deal with Koba. War for the Planet of the Apes, though, Caesar is on a completely different mission, different path. His family is murdered by Woody Harrelson as the Colonel, and he starts to have that little hatred towards the human side again. But as the character, Caesar just goes through such a roller coaster journey, and it's so satisfying at the end of War for the Planet of the Apes. It just brings me to tears every time. Number 3 is Batman. Batman mostly from the Dark Knight trilogy. Christian Bale is my favorite Batman iteration as of right now. I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. It brings us the obvious Batman origin story where Bruce Wayne's parents are shot, but really Bruce Wayne goes through the origins of becoming the Batman. They show you in depth everything he goes through, all the training he goes through with Ra's al Ghul. Dark Knight, my second favorite movie of all time, and Bruce Wayne is struggling with the Batman arc. People are looking at him as a villain now, and he has to deal with the Joker. Everyone has their issues with Dark Knight Rises, like, oh, how does Bruce Wayne get from that all the way to Gotham that quickly? But no, I look at the character of Bruce Wayne and everything he overcomes in Dark Knight Rises. Christian Bale, what he did as the character, just has some of my favorite moments. Let's go right to number 2, and that is Iron Man, Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr., I've talked to death about Iron Man, of course my favorite casting of any superhero. Tony Stark, I think in my personal opinion, has the best arc in the whole MCU. Him starting off in the first Iron Man movie as a really selfish, cocky dude. He's not the nicest of people, he's very selfish, likes women, but the moment he really turns on the Karen persona, not using his weapons for evil, and just does the right thing throughout these movies. In the Avengers movies, Tony Stark is just the one that always is learning what to do from the right thing. But then in Infinity War and Endgame is the one that is putting his life on the line. And he does throughout both of these movies. He almost dies in Infinity War, but Endgame is completely emotional because you feel like you lost a family member, and I did when I watched the ending of Endgame, because I just fell in love with this character ever since the start of the first movie. But number 1 is kind of obvious, guys. It's Quicksilver from Avengers Age of Ultron. Just such a great character. He was in one movie. He made the most impact towards me. When he died, I was shocked. I'm just kidding. It's Captain America, guys. Come on, look at the shield behind me. I remember going into Captain America, the first Avenger, not really being excited at all. Captain America just seemed like a boring character from the comics, but I walked out of First Avenger loving it. It was one of my favorite films of 2011, and I was super excited to see Winter Soldier in theaters. And then after I did, I went to the movie theaters again. I went back to seeing every single movie in theaters. And Captain America, for me, just has a really great storyline. I think the best storyline in the MCU. He stays good the whole entire storyline. It's a character we can all resonate with. I just love the ending for the character when he himself goes back in time, lives out his life, and dances with Peggy again. That was the perfect ending for the character, and I could not be happier. Captain America is my number one. What could you expect? There you have it, guys. Those are my top 10 favorite movie heroes of all time. Again, guys, let me know in the comment section below, what are your top 10 lists? Do you agree with my picks or disagree? Did I miss any? Thank you guys, as always, for watching this top 10 list. All my social media links are in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.